Good day everyone, my name is Graphics. Today we want to study an aspect of engineering drawing which is called assembly drawing. We'll call it also the working drawing, or we'll call it production drawing. And we'll be analyzing a question here, which is this. Now we are told to what? Assemble all this together. Now this is exploded diagram, right? And they are split into different components. Now, what the good news here is, it has been assembled in first angle projection, right? So what we want to do, we want to assemble this in isometric projection. And when you hear the word isometric projection, you should be remembering your inclined axis at 30 degrees. So first of all, since you are drawing isometric of this machine diagram, you just put them on angle of what? 30 degrees. So let's start. You first of all draw your vertical line this way, right? And the next thing you do, you draw your horizontal line this way also at an angle of what? 30 degrees. Then you do the other part also. Now if you look at this very well, we want to know the entire length. Now we said earlier that the elevation has what is called the length, right? So we want to know the entire length. If you look at this very well, this is our elevation here. We don't know distance from this point to this point because it's not given here, but the good news is it is given here. From the beginning of this point here, this line here, let me zoom it so you see what I'm talking about. From the beginning of this point here, of this line here, down to this point here is given as what? 240. So I'm going to measure my 240. So let's take that. I'll measure my 240. So let's do that. So from here, I'll measure 240. That is from 1 to 25. So this is 25, somewhere around here. Right? So my 25 is somewhere around here. That's my 25 there. So let's see that and see how it goes. Now, the next thing is the width. If you look at the width here, you discover that the width, or let me say the height first. The height will be given us from here to here. From here to here is 32. From here to here is 26. So 26 plus 32 will give me what? 58. So I'm going to measure 58. From here the height is 58. I'm going to measure my 58 here. So from 1 to 68 is 58. See, this is from 1. It's 58 here, right? Now I've gotten my height. And the next thing I would like to draw would be my width. Now the width is always at the width is giving us this point here, because the plan always has the width. So what is the entire width here? If you look at this, is 90. From this point to this point says what? 90. That is the 90 here, right? So I'm going to measure the 90 as my width. So I'll measure the 90 as my width. So from 1 to 10 is 90. Right? You can see that. So this is 90 as my width. Now I'm going to take them up. So at this point, you take this up. Vertical line. At this point too, You do the same thing to vertical line. Right? So in doing that, we're going to join all together. We'll join all together from here to here. I'm going to draw this to touch this guy. Also, I'll move this from here to also touch this guy here. So I'll do the same thing too. Move it from here and draw my line from this point straight down till I'll form my box. So from here also, when I make my box, let's take it down a little bit. So I'm closing it up here for my box. Now I have formed the box I want. Look at it very well. The box is meeting at this point, and this is all the shape that I have here. Right, so let's start. Now the next thing we'll do here is that we want to draw this. So the thickness from here to here is 26. Let me show you. The thickness from here, the base here, to this height here is what? 26. Right? So you measure half of it, which is 26. So let's do that. Let's see how it goes. So the 26 that we have, I will measure it here from 1 to 26. This 10, 26 is here. Now close it up, just like that. I'll close the other one up. So I'm closing it up. See that? I'm also closing this up. Alright, I'll close everything up. Just join them. Oh, so we've done that. Join them all through. Now the next thing you do, to look at it very well, here you need to get the center of this diagram. That means the center of this figure here. So if from here to here is from here to here is 90, so half of it is 45, right? So this is 45 here. There's half of it. Now I'm going to draw it round. And see, 90. And this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 45. So I'll close it up. And I'll close it up too. I'm dividing it into 2. Right? Now, this is a center point here. This is another center point here. So the next thing, I'm going to divide here into half 2. The total length of that guy is 240, which is this. Right? So half of 40 is 120. So I'll measure 120 from here. Measure 120 from here. From 1 to 13, 120. And I'll use my set square and T-square and trace it up. right? Now this is the center of this guy, so I'll close them all up too. This is going this way, stopping here, and this top too, stopping here too. So I've gotten the center now. So I need this center point and the center point. So let's see how we're going to do that. Now, if you look at this figure here, this center figure here, the distance of it we don't really know, but we know it is what? 50. Let me zoom it so it's what I'm talking about. From here is what? 50. That's the length. This next one is what? 32. So I'll start from what? The 50. So let me start from 50 and draw. So that will be 25, 25. So with the help of my compass, I'm going to measure 25, 25. This 25 here. And I'll place it at this point. And I'm going to mark left and right. Right? So that's the length. If you look at this, I have the length from here to here. So what distance from here to here? That is what we want to check now. So if you look at this figure very well, right? This thickness here, we already said the length of this guy is the length of this guy, which is 50, right? But we don't know the thickness here. How will we know the thickness? This is the figure here. This thing that is assembled here, this is it here. And the length is what? 97. So I'll take out of 97 and I'll mark. See 97, Abby? So 97 divided by 2, 48. So I'm going to measure the 48 from 1 to 48 here. Right? And I'll place it at the center here. Right? So I'm going to mark somewhere around here. And I'll mark somewhere around here. So it means that I'm going to extend this from this point to just make it fulfill to this point here. That is where my box will end. So this is coming out totally. Okay. And just closing them up. So we move up. I'm closing them up. Where they meet here, I have this way, and I also have this way. I'm using faint line to draw first. So you must use your compass to your set square and T square to just join this part together. So So I brought that box out. Now if you look at this, so you pick up here and here. This point is a point. This point is another point. Here is a point. Here is a point. And that's the box I brought out. Now let's move forward. From here, we need the next thing to do. Look at this now. The next thing I want to do is I want to draw this base here, right? So what I will do is I know that from here to here is how many? 164. So half of 164 is 82. So I'll mark it from the center, 82. So this is the center here, right? So I'll mark it 82 from this point here. All together. So use my meter rule. I'm going to mark 82. From here to here, this is 82. There we are, 92 here, right? And I'll place it here. I'm going to mark here and here. So, and I'll just move it up a little bit with my T-square. I'll move it up a little bit with my T-square, probably to this level, and this level. Now the next thing we'll do after getting this guy is 84 is that we don't actually know the distance from here to here. So what I know is from here, for me to know the difference between here and here, which is here and here, right, which is here and here, I'm going to subtract 240 from 190. 240 from 190 is 50. So I'm going to measure 25, 25 from each ending. So I'll measure 25, 25 from each ending. This is 25. Right? So I'll place it at the ending here. I'll mark 25. And I'm going to also mark 25 from each ending. So that will give me this thickness here, right? So if you see I already put 25 here. Now the next thing we are going to do is that from here to here is from here to here, which is from here to here, and that is what? 7. So I'm going to measure another extra 7 in. So this is 25 I measured. I'll just take it up and take the other one up too. Right? So now measure 7 backward from it, because it's touching the line of 26, the line I measured initially. So I measure 7 backward on that line here. This is 7 here, and 7 even here also. This 7 to backward. No. So if I do that, I'm taking this backward this way. I'm taking this to backward this way. That's my 7. Now the next thing is the thickness here. After I made 26, which is from here, so this thickness from here to here, 26. The next one that is showing the thickness is just 12. So I'll measure 12. Right? I'm going to measure 12. So on that 26, I measure 12. So let's go back down. So I measure 12 from here. So I'll just join from here, front line, right? I also join from here to front line, right? Now the next thing is distance from here to here. From here to here is half of what? Half of 12, and that is 6. So I'll measure 6 here. And I'll just join them together. I'll also use front line. Right? So the next thing I'll be doing is this part here, 7. Let me show you. It's coming down to this point here by 6, right? So I'm going to measure this part 7 here. So come down by 6. And let's place this here. Come down by 6. 6 here. So I'll just join from this point straight down to this point and stops here. Now the next thing is from this 7 that I measured, from this 7 I measured, I'm going to measure 32 here and 32 here. So let's measure it. So first of all, measure 32 here, from 1 to 32. So I measure 32 here. This is 10, 20, 32. Alright, I'll do the same thing here too, 32, 10, 20, 10, 20, 32. That is what I'm going to pull along up. This is coming up to this point. Here also is coming up to this point. Now, from here, you measure 32 up. So I'm going to measure 32 up from here. From 1, this is 10, 20, 30. 32 is here. Yeah. All good. So I need to form my box this way. And I'll close it up. Now I'm going to move it to this point here. So that thickness is 90, Abby. We have 90 from this point to that point, that is 90. So what I will do, I'll measure the 90. That means from here to here is 90. Let it down. to here is 90. So I'll place it here just to know where I'll stop. This is 90. Right. Here also, I need to be somewhere around here. And here. So if I draw this to that point, go. I'll move it from here. I'll measure this is where this guy stop. And you too. This is where you stop. And I'm going to close this to here. And bring it down to touch. Right? So from here, let's take this down. Now, we're moving forward, just closing that up. I'm using fat line because I'm not sure where I'll go to end, where I'm going to stop. Now, after bringing all this out, this is coming straight down here. So now the next thing is I will start drawing my diagram. I know for sure that I'm going to take in this top here from here to here. I'm taking this for you to you. I'm taking this for you to you. Taking this for you to you also. I'm taking this. Then these two. I'm taking this one too. Taking here too. Close it up. Okay. I'll close it up. Now, this is coming down. Then I'll take in here also. And here too. And here too. Now, nothing of this, I'm going to draw this. This will come down here. And the next one, this? So we have this. I'm going to take in that. At this point. From here too. So this is coming down here. From here. Oh, now if I bring here down, this will come here, touch this, right? And this will come here, touch this. So, like that. And close it up. Then the next thing I'll do, so bring it down. Then bring it down to this. So from here, I'll take it down. And then I'll move it to this point. Right? I'll bring it down to and I'll bring it down also. Bring it down to now. From here, I'll take it in. The same thing that I did here, I'll also do it here too. So I'll just rotate this to this point. So from here, the same measurement I'm using. This measurement here, the same thing I'm using here. So I'll just move this. So just close everything up. Close it up. Close it up. And here too. Then we bring this down. Okay, we'll move forward. So this is the center line here that I drew earlier. From here, the center line. At this point also is also a center line. That's what I mean this. There's another center line there. So we'll get the center of this line here so that we're able to draw our circle here. There's I'm talking about this pipe here. They call it a spindle, right? So we want to draw that, and it is passing through each of these holes. That's what I want to do. But the total length of it is 160, right? So 160 from inside this block here. So how can I get that? It should be at the center of it. But the diameter is giving us what? Diameter is giving us 10. Diameter is 10. So I'll mark 5 each. So you locate the center of this line. Let me see here. Right? And we're going to draw a line this way. And you mark 5 each. 5 up and 5 down. You take the 5 up and down. All this. I mark left and right also. Like that. So let me just close it up. Closing it up. Okay. And let it pass through here. And through here, through here, and also through here. So what I'll do here is just so now what we'll do is the center will be applied here at this point. So we'll get the center. So the center of this should be somewhere around here. And say center of this line. There's 90. That'll be 45. Okay, let's take it down. and they are all meeting at this point here. I'll just draw my line this way. And I'll project this. So where this where this point meets here is one point, and where this meets another one is another point, and where this meets this is this, and where this meets this is this. So that is on form a box. I have this box out, and the next one is coming here. So at the point here, let's take it back. It's passing out from here, so we're measuring 160 from the center here. So what length will it give us? So if you move 24 from 160, is remaining 126, 136, yes. So I measure 136 from here. Just somewhere around there, right? So let's move. So I will draw my circle here. I'll draw the circle here, and I'll draw the circle here. So I can use my French curve for that. Normal isometric circle. This is passing through the center here. Here also. Here also. So I'll get something like this. So you're having something like this, and you join from this edge to this edge. To come here and you stop here. And to come from here to stop here. Right? And this one too. Come here, stop here, and to come from here, stop here. So from here, we're having something like this, right? Now this side here is a square. You can check it from here. It's telling us that it's a square inside. And the square, and this is 6 millimeter, 16 millimeter, or 6 millimeter. So I'll have that. We have this. We have something like this. And the next thing we want to do is we want to draw this thickness here. I want to draw this, which is this, right? So if you look at now, the thickness is 50. I'm going to mark 25, 25, and also 14, so 7, 7, 25, 25, and 7, 7. So I'll just take my compass, mark it. First of all, 25. place it at the center here. I'll mark left and right. 5 and 5. Then the next one is 14, 14. That is 14. That is 7, 7 now. So I'll mark 7, 7. So the next thing, we move down to the 12 we measured. And where is the 12 we measured earlier? This is the 12 we measured earlier, this thickness here. So you just take them to this point. Take them to this point. And we take them inside. This corner. Now what do you notice here? You notice that at this point, distance from this beginning to the center is 12. Distance from the beginning to the center is 12. To this point is 12. So I'll just draw my line. That's where I'm going to draw my circle. So I'll complete the rest. They're all chamfered at the edge. And use they're all chamfered at the edge. So I'll chamfer at the edge here. This is small, so I'll be having this. So from here, from this side, you And just do the same thing here. Do center line here. This will help. So we measure what you have here. And this point. And this point. So let's close them up. To closing them up, we have a connection. So you take your pencil, you place at this point, and draw this. Right? So you place it here. Okay, that guy. We have something like this, right? Now, the next thing is to do the back one here. So for the back one, the same thing we apply. The center line that we have, we mark 25, 25, like from here to here. And then let's measure that. The same replication here. So say it's 50, so 25, 25 that you measure. So I have 25, 25. Place it here, you mark left, right, then 7, 7. Left, right. So it does the same thing you did there. Let's take this in. Take this in. Take this in. Take this in. So we just bring it down. This is actually solid. This is the thickness here. Okay. Close it up. And then we have this and this. So now we move forward. That is what we have here. Let's have this. Let's close this up. 16. Measure 16 from here. Measure 16 from here. I'm trying to draw these bolts here. 16 16. Then at the center point, you're going to have 4M8, right? So it's M8, 8 times 3/2. That is 12. So you come here and measure 12 for each. I can do it here. So I just measure my 12 on my meter rule. That'll be 6, 6. So I measure 6, 6, 6, and 6. Also here 2, 6, and 6, 6, and 6, 6, 6, 6, and 6, 6, 6, 6, and 6. I'll have this. Just from your normal circle here to get your you do the same thing to get your circle at those points. So after doing that, we will have in the screw here, somewhere around here. So this is what we have. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.